we'll kind of shift gears here. Another major topic for a lot of dads, and that we go over on a weekly basis, is protective orders, restraining orders, generally just domestic violence allegations that occur coming out of relationships. So I think you used the term protective order. Is that what you guys use in Georgia? Okay, so what is the protective order process in family court like in Georgia?
Well, the way it works, it's a two-step process. So first step is they file a petition for an ex parte temporary protective order. Ex parte literally means missing a party. What it means is they put their allegations down in a petition, and they have to meet certain statutory code requirements. You can't just say, I feel like I'm being treated like trash by this other person, and I'm going to go try and get them shoved out of the home or whatever. So there are very specific requirements. Now, once you fill that petition out, a judge is going to look at it and decide based upon the allegations on that piece of paper that are, and only hear from the petitioner, which is why it's called ex parte, missing a party. They're going to decide whether or not to issue an immediate order of protection, basically getting the other party out of the picture, could mean out of the home, cutting off communication, and just giving that level of protection. Now, that can only stay in place for a maximum of 30 days. Now, typically, there'll be the next hearing, which is required. It will typically happen somewhere between 7 and 25 days. It's very rare that it goes right out to the wire. And at that next hearing, that's then called the 12-month protective order hearing. That is a full evidentiary hearing where the party that is the respondent, the defendant, if you will, has a chance to hear the allegations against them, see the evidence presented, defend themselves against those accusations and allegations, present whatever evidence they have that hopefully, from their standpoint, will defeat those allegations and accusations. And so I do these all the time, and we've got a good record of them, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have a hard time getting your TPO to go through and give you the order of protection. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have a hard time defeating even an illegitimate or unfair. When I say illegitimate, I mean doesn't really meet the requirements. If you don't have good representation who knows what they're doing, you're going to have a hard time on either side. So I look at the facts of the case and I measure it against the statute. And there are certain requirements. For instance, there has to have been some kind of a domestic relationship between the two parties. Former married or former relationship. It could be familial, meaning parent and child. It could be, those are the major ones. The idea is there has to have been some kind of a domestic relationship. Otherwise, you go for some other kind of a TPO. But there's two kinds of TPOs in Georgia. One of them is for family violence, and then the other one is for stalking. I guess those requirements I was just listing out, those are more for the family violence, because you have to have that familial domestic relationship. And the consequences are quite severe, because this is it's a civil action that has a criminal consequence. So if you have a TPO issued against you and you violate it, now you're looking at potentially being arrested for aggravated stalking, which is a felony, and you got big problems on your hand if that happens.
Hey, let's put a pause there. No matter how bullshit that temporary restraining order, temporary protective order that gets put on you is, do not violate it, because that'll pretty much guarantee that the permanent one's going to get granted, and there are going to be criminal penalties. So,
exactly. So, yeah, we deal with these all the time on both sides. We deal with lots of, sometimes they are trumped up to gain advantage in a court case. A lot of times they're not, but it's fairly transparent when they are. And we just, we bang them back down and do our best for our clients. Sometimes now, actually in a lot of cases, we can actually achieve a settlement. We don't actually have to go before the judge. And if there's an ongoing case, a custody case, a divorce case, a paternity legitimation case, what we can do is issue a temporary order into that other case, which eliminates the need for the temporary protective order. Which is, it's a good thing for both parties, frankly. It's a good thing for the party who's been accused, because now they're not, running the risk of finding themselves with a felony for aggravated stalking. And it's good for the petitioner because it gives them that level of protection that they're looking for. I mean, they're in an honest TPO, they are really, really scared or concerned, or something has happened. They feel that they really need to have parameters in place. And so they go for the TPO. But if we got the other case going already, we can put the parameters into that other case. No contact with each other. If you need to contact with each other, respectful communication, only about the kids, not about the case. There's a few parenting apps. One of them, the popular one, is called Our Family Wizard, which allows the parties to communicate in a way through an app that the court then has access to all the communications between them. So there are certain things we can do. But, sometimes if I'm representing the party that's been accused of something, sometimes we're just not going to, like I had one of those a couple of weeks ago. I offered to put in a temporary order in the divorce case. The other side said no. I said, okay, well, you're going to get, I said this to the other attorney, you're going to get blindsided when we go before the judge, because there's a lot of things your own client hasn't told you. And sure enough, they turned down the opportunity to have an interim order in the divorce case. We went forward. We defeated the TPO. The judge felt that the other party had zero credibility. We defeated the TPO, and so now they don't have any interim order in the divorce case. So if we feel, if our client and we feel that we can't reach a resolution by issuing something either by agreement in a TPO or by entry of an order into an already existing case to achieve some level of protection for both parties, then we just go forward with it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that I think a lot of guys don't necessarily think about. There are very real consequences. I don't know how it is in Georgia, but in California, if you get a restraining orders, which is what we call them out here, granted against you, there's automatically a presumption that for 5 years you should not have any legal or physical custody. You can only have visitation for a 5-year period. That's the presumption. So a lot of times when we go in there and the guy's like, this is all false, none of this is true, this is trumped up, I just want to defeat it. And I'm like, no, you just want this to go away. It doesn't matter what we have to do to get this to go away.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately, we don't have that. Our default is 1 year, and then we can come back for an extension on it using the same allegations as we got the original TPO from. And when I say we, guys end up having to file them against the women as well. It's just not just the women filing against the guys. I would say it's probably 50-50. People get emotional, people can get crazy, people can get vindictive. The people that we see in our day-to-day lives and we know at arm's length, they can be completely different beyond closed doors. I mean, we all get triggered sometimes and lose our cool. And sometimes it, for some people it may get out of hand, and next thing you know, you got a TPO. And then if you have a TPO, a lot of times it's not just against the other adult. It can affect your ability to have communication with the kids. There could be child support and other things ordered. In a TPO, there can be an order to hand over keys to a car. I mean, it's some serious stuff. So, yeah, we try and work those out if we can. But if not, we go full guns on it.